everyone, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to go through 3 things that I learned from the Chicago Marathon. Now, because I haven't stopped talking about it yet, recently on the 13th of October this year, 2024, I ran the Chicago Marathon, which was also my 9th marathon in total. I have been very lucky that I have run the London Marathon 5 times, I have run New York, Berlin, Milton Keynes, and what's the other one now? Milton Keynes, 5, New York. Oh, and Chicago. That makes up number 9. Oh, dearie me. But yeah, we got there. So yeah, five Londons, New York, Berlin, Milton Keynes, and Chicago. So at the moment, I have pretty much just been running the world majors, and that is one of my overall goals, is to run the 6 world marathon majors. But with Chicago, if you have been following us either on Instagram or you may have been watching some of the videos here on YouTube, you would have seen that my training didn't necessarily go to plan. Now, it did at the start, and training was going really well in the first half of the block, and then went through a little bit of a stressful period, and basically I think the stress had a massive impact on my body, which then brought out a few niggles and injuries, which kind of hindered my training in the back end, which is also sometimes the most important part, especially when you're in the peak. But now that I reflect back on it, I was very fortunate enough to have a really good positive experience in Chicago in both the weekend itself and actually on race day. And if anything, this marathon has taught me a lot. And I think it's really important with every training block and every race to learn from it and grow and become a better runner off the back of it. So yeah, today is the 3 things that I learned from the Chicago Marathon. And the first one being the importance of cross training. Now, a lot of people say it and I say it myself, but actually the proof was in the actual race day. Now, I did a lot of sessions on the cross trainer, I did a lot of work on the bike, I did some swimming, not a lot because it's not a strength of mine, but I did spend a lot of time on the cross trainer and especially on the bike. And I specifically remember James saying to me one day, right, it's Sunday, you don't need to be doing your long run, I'd like you to go to the gym and spend 2 hours cross training in any capacity that you can, because obviously trying to set period of time, it was just like, right, just go and do 2 hours of cardiovascular work, just do what you can. And I think if anything, I spent a lot of time on the cross trainer and the bike, and it was just, if anything, it helped me obviously from a cardiovascular perspective. I was trying to hit the same stimulus of a long run, but also in the sense that mentally, the resilience, it would have been training different muscle groups. And I just, at the time it didn't feel like it was doing a lot, but actually on the day I felt really good. So it just goes to show that all of the cross training that I did, all of the pain that I'd put myself through mentally doing this cross training and not being able to run, it certainly paid off on race day. So that is a big lesson that I've learned, and it's definitely something that I will be continuing into my next training block, because in the past I found that I sometimes struggle when the mileage goes up and my body starts to say, nope, not liking this. So we're going to try and keep as much of that cross training in, because it didn't work in Chicago, so we're carrying it on. Now, the biggest thing, number 2, that I took and I learned from Chicago, that is mindset is crucial. Now, I had a real roller coaster in the weeks leading up to it. I will admit that. And sometimes my mindset was not very positive, because when running is such a big part of your life and you do have an injury and you're not able to train to the capacity that you'd like to, it took a lot on me and my mindset and just how I was feeling day to day. So yeah, I probably wasn't always in the best mindset in the lead up. But then the week before we were in Barcelona watching the Ironman, and how could you not be inspired by all of these amazing people? And once I'd watched all of them on race day, that was the Sunday, and then it switched around to Monday, and I just thought, there's nothing else you can do from a training perspective now to benefit Sunday. The only thing that I can do now is just think positively, and if I think positively, that's only going to bring about a positive outcome. Now, we all know what it's like. If we wake up in a bad mood, it's more likely that you're going to continue that day feeling like that, and just, you know, when you feel like everything just happens on the same day. And I just thought, actually, if we just go into this with a positive mindset, I'm only going to think positively throughout the week, and it's only then just going to keep building that momentum. And that really did help. And, you know, when I was back at uni, we got taught, you know, in our netball training, fake it until you make it. And, you know, don't get me wrong, I couldn't have just gone to that marathon and had done completely no training and stood on that start line being like, yep, I'm going to have a great run today because I've done no training, because it doesn't work like that at all. But I just changed my mindset to like, I can only work with what I have done, and I can only go and enjoy this now. Like, I just thought, it's a Chicago Marathon, it's my 4th world major. I'd qualified with a time to get there. I'd earned my place on that start line. So I was like, I can only just go and have fun. We'd had such a brilliant kind of couple of days leading up to it as well. So it just all kind of compounded into this really positive experience anyway. And very thankfully as well, like, my body was kind of alleviated of any of the pain and the stress that had been under, and I was able to run fairly freely on the day, which was just, you know, sensational. I just couldn't believe it, to be honest. I was a bit baffled, and, you know, just kind of was like, wow, okay, you've come together on race day. This is amazing. But I just think that by having that positive mindset, that's what kind of really carried me through. I had some mantras with me as well, and in the morning of, like, I'd already decided on the lead up to it, but I was going to dedicate the race to my mum, who, like, my biological mum, who has unfortunately passed away when I was younger. My nan, who, you know, has been unwell, and I then thought, like, I'm going to do it for her. But then also, I put so much pressure on myself sometimes to run certain times, and I was like, just do it for me, do it for you. It's for you and no one else. It doesn't matter. I get so worried sometimes about what people think I'm going to be able to run because I'm a coach, but actually, I'm doing it for me. I'm running because I choose to do this. I choose to run. I'm the one that has made the decision to run this. And so that just really helped. I wrote on my hand, and then every time that I felt like, oh, maybe you're struggling, I looked down and I thought, no, it's much bigger than this. It's much bigger than just how you're feeling right now. There's more to it. So that really, really helped. And touched on it on the podcast. And obviously we'd been in Barcelona watching the Ironman, and Naomi's mantra was, you can do hard things. So at any point that I thought it was getting hard, I thought of her and looked down at my wrist, and she inspired me, as everyone else did, on the race day itself. And she was messaging me throughout, so I could see those messages, and every time I hit a checkpoint and a map, you know, I'd been tracking her the week before in Barcelona, she was tracking me vividly through the app. So yeah, just all of that helped me come together and just have a great race, which is kind of leading into the final point. And number 3 is actually the performance on the day meant more than the actual time itself. And this was a huge thing about it. The weekend made me realise that my time was really irrelevant. It was how I ran, how I felt, and the stories I was able to tell after it. You know, we had such a wonderful experience in Chicago. Like, the first morning we got up, the sky was blue, we went for a shakeout run, we saw other runners, we said hello to people, and it was just, I don't know, I just can't describe how amazing that felt. It was just like, wow, we're here, this city is amazing. And it just started off the trip perfectly. We, you know, walked around Chicago, the buzz was there around, we went to the Nike store and just started to kind of fill ourselves up with the Chicago magic and the buzz of the weekend. We waited in a tracksmith queue and met 2 lovely ladies, one who I met in the corral in the morning of the race. So it was just like this lovely connection with people. I had a girl on the course come up to me, well, not come up to me, she ran past me and said, I follow your podcast. And there's little snippets like that of the weekend that just made me realise that it's so much more than just the time. The weekend itself was so much more than that. We got to spend some amazing time with our friends and community members. I got to meet some of my clients who I've never met before because they live on other sides of the world. And yeah, it just was so much more than just I could say I ran an X marathon. If anything, I can now come away and say I ran a great marathon because I enjoyed it, I loved it, I had a great experience. I got faster, I ran a negative split and I loved it. And I got to meet all of these great people. And so, yeah, performance over time is kind of what I'd like to take into, like how I'm feeling. Like, you know, when training's going well, that's when it feels good. There's no point running a fast time if it felt terrible, because what's the point? You know, you want to enjoy this. This is our sport. This is what we love. This is our passion, our hobby. It's what we love to do. So yeah, I thought I'd struggle. Well, I don't know why I ever thought that. I thought, right, I'm going to do 3 lessons. Why did I think I would struggle to talk through it with you? Because yeah, it's my experience and I have just got really positive things to say. So yeah, 3 lessons that I learned from Chicago. Cross training, don't underestimate it. Number 2, mindset is key. If you know my New York Marathon story as well, you'll understand that, and I should have known that. And number 3, performance and the whole race experience, including the whole weekend, means more than just your finish time. So there's my lessons learned. I will be talking soon through about what I've got coming up next, because I feel like my 2025 race calendar is kind of already filled up, but we'll come to that in another video. So yeah, thanks for sticking around. Thanks for following the Chicago journey, and look forward to getting back into training and into a new training block. See you in the next video.